So I have a Nyko battery here for the Nintendo Wii, and after several years it is dead, and they're not easy to find online, the replacement. And I'm going to show you how you can fix this so that you don't have to throw your Nyko charger away. So here's one that I've already done. You can see it's a green battery. It's a nickel metal hydride, and I'll show you how to open this up, take these bad batteries out, and put the good batteries in, and how to do it on the cheap. So if you take the existing one, and here's what you notice, you put it in. I'm not very good at it, as you can see. Oh, there we go. And I'll put this in, and I'll put it in. You'll see it'll go blue, like it's going to charge, but after a couple seconds, it'll go green. And the reason why it goes green is it's not charging. It's pretty much ended its useful life, the battery. It's got too much resistance, and it just won't take a charge. So, some simple tools that you'll need. The way I do it, now you don't have to do it. I think the hardest thing is getting this opened. And then where do you find the replacement batteries? Because you really can't find them in the store. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. So you can go to your Harbor Freight and get something like this pretty cheap. I think this was like $6, this little tool. And you see it's got a saw thing on the end. And so what I want to do is I want to go along this line. I've tried to open it previously with a screwdriver, and it's a real big pain in the butt. I don't really advise it. So if you get something like this, it's going to be so much easier. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and open this up and just go along that line. You kind of see what I'm doing. It's kind of cutting into the plastic. You kind of see what it's doing. So I'm going to keep going until I can start to see through there, and then I can open it the rest of the way with a screwdriver. And this thing's on its fourth cut, so it's probably not as sharp. You can see it's kind of getting stuck. But I think it'll make its way through. This one's taking me the longest, but it's also the fourth one. You can kind of see how I'm making some progress here. Nice and neat. That's good enough. Alright, so you can see from me making the cut, I've got a nice groove in here. And I've got a screwdriver. I didn't want to go upstairs and get a bigger one. You can probably get a bigger one and do this faster, but you can see what I'm doing is I'm going to put it in there, and I'm just going to kind of twist. And it's going to pull apart. And this actually, I kind of cut it just perfect. In fact, I actually cut into the battery a little bit, but I don't care because I'm throwing it away. So I go through this, and I pull it open, but not too much. I don't want to crack this end. And so what I'll do is I'll get in here, and it's a little tricky. And right there, I pull it out. What you can see is they're put together here. I'm going to do something you probably don't have to do. You can probably get away with putting the batteries in here. All right, so I'll show you what I got. This battery is not as long as a regular AA battery. So I actually figured it out. It's called a 4/5 AA. I got the nickel metal hydride battery. I find these on eBay. Now, since you're probably going to do at least 2, I had 4. You can find them for about $4 a piece with free shipping. So for me, 4 sets was about $16 with free shipping. And it arrived a couple weeks later. So I found this to be pretty good. So what you do here is we'll just open this up. We'll do the other side. It's really in there really good. And between the two, they've got to open up. And these are real popular. People use them in all kinds of things. I think they're really popular in razors because they use the shorter ones. And what you'll see here is each one of these has 4. I only need to keep 1, and I'll keep one of the ones on the bottom. So I'll get rid of these. I'll just use a pair of pliers. They're already soldered on there. Boom. And while that's going, I'll go ahead and heat up my solder iron. Again, you don't need a solder iron to do this. You could probably just put some foil on there and wrap it with some tape along the bottom. I'm just doing it a different way in fact, you probably don't even need foil. You could take tape and wrap it. I'm doing the solder because I want to make sure I have a really good thing. So you can see here what I've got. So I've got it down to about this. Now, the part with the bump is positive. The part that's completely flat at the end is negative. And so the way that this works is, you can see on here, this says positive, that says negative. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to have the bump here go onto the back of the positive, almost like they're like that, to get the full voltage. So again, you can see I've got a bump. This is positive, that's negative, and you can see at the top here, very clear there's a bump. And this bump will go like that. The positive will line up with the positive, and the negative will line up with the negative. And that's kind of how it will do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to bend this down. This is just the way I'm doing it. I'm going to need any kind of tape. I find tape is extremely useful. But before I do that, what I'm going to want to do, because I don't have any flux. Flux is something that makes things stick extremely well. But because I don't have flux, I'm going to make sure the surface is extremely clean so I can give myself the best chance that I have. If I had flux, it would be a lot easier. So just make sure that's cleaned and make sure that this is cleaned extremely well. There we go. And then what I'm going to want to do before I tape it is let me just make sure I have, just making sure I got the oxidation off and whatnot, so I get a good, you can smell it. It's going to take a while to heat up. So I went ahead and soldered this off camera. So you can see what I did. I used 2 pieces of tape. I've got my positive, my negative, my positive. So it's a negative, positive, negative, positive. So these are both 1.2 volts. Combined, they give about 2.4 volts. That's why they're done that way. And if you can see, that's kind of my solder job. It's not the best, but I don't have flux, but it actually is on there really, really good. And so what I'm going to do is I'll use this, and I'll just kind of break that off. You could, if you don't have a solder iron at home, you could use a piece of foil and some tape and just put some foil along the bottom and then just tape that on so it's on there. You don't want to tape the middle. You need to make sure that there we go. Oops. You could actually even use one of these. Actually, you could just use this piece that was soldered on there and just put it on the other side and tape it on there really good. But you need to have it open a little bit. And I'll show you why. Because inside of here, you can see there's a little black thing that checks for temperature. If the battery is overheating when you're charging it, you can probably see right in there, when you're charging it, it shuts off the charge. So it's a safety mechanism. So we're going to look here. We're going to see positive and negative. So the way this is going to go in, don't want to move it too much. I don't want it to break. That's positive with the hump. You could also use a multimeter if you wanted to check it. I'm going to go in and get in there just enough to be able to slide it in. And then when I'm sliding in, I want it to rub the black thing that's in there. You can't see it, but I'm going to go gently in. There it goes. And I'm going to put it all the way in. And then make sure I've got it to where I can kind of close it. Not quite. I'll use this guy to, something that's sticking to him. So I'll probably use him to push him in deeper. There. And that looks good. I've got a little too much solder on there, so it's not as smooth. And then what I'll do is I'll take some tape. You can use a black electrical tape, any kind of tape. And what I want to do is squeeze it real tight. And just get it on there very tight. Really important that I get a good tight grip. Now, the moment of truth. Let's go out here. Actually, see, I can't even get it to go in. There. Oops. It's in there. Snaps in. Boom. It lines up perfect. We're going to put it in there. Here's the other one I did. And the reason I did this is because my kids are just going through all my batteries since it stopped charging. So here's all the batteries I'm going to save. And let me turn on the TV here. And let me make sure my Wii is on. It is. Give me a second. Oops.
Don't you stop it?
Nope. And let me just change it here.
Since the beginning, there's been one pioneering light, illuminating the path for others to follow. The distinctive Audi LED technology, designed to see and be seen. This is how an Audi earns its rings.
You know which one it was? Maybe it was the DVD. Analog. Here it is. So something. This guy's already charged on the right. See, that guy's actually charging. That's the one we just did. We're going to hit the home button here. So we can see P1. We'll turn this guy on. He can actually turn on while he's charging. We'll turn on all four. And all these now take a charge on them. And so the to order 8 batteries for the 4/5 nickel metal hydride AA batteries was roughly about $16. So for 16 bucks and a tool that you may have, or you can go to Harbor Freight and get one of these simple tools like this. You know, if you want to say this is 10 bucks, for 26 bucks, I just replaced all 4 of my batteries. And it's really hard to find the Nyko ones, and I just didn't want to throw this away. So hopefully this helps somebody. Just takes a little bit of some handiwork, but as you can see, it's quite achievable. Thank you.